should I choose? What should I choose? What should I choose? Oh, what should I choose? Yo, Mr. Rhea here. I'ma tell you. Let me break it down for you real fast, real quick. I don't need a beat to spread real in this field. You can copy anybody's sentence regardless. Still gotta aim that gun, that's Jarvis. Kidding, seriously I'm kidding. So let me guess, you wanna start winning? Well, first things first, you gotta decide. You wanna make a change, then swallow your pride. It's gonna take a while and a whole lot of missing, but listen, don't give up in an instance. Legacy's old school and old school's great. Plenty still use it, just a few to name. Upshaw, Merch, Trapped, and Aiden. More be slain if you know what I'm saying. If you want that snap from across the map, go with Legacy, simple as that. If you wanna be cracking with a little more tracking, then go advanced. Let me tell you what happens. Exponential, good place to start. Copy from Legacy, it's not that hard. Now this gonna feel similar right away. Pretty much what you're used to every single day, minus a little less snap and a little more track. Shotguns are iffy and subs are crack. When it lacks in snap, it'll make up fast with new controls that you never really had, like horizontal boost for a little more juice. For low sense players, maybe that's you. And if it's not, I'd recommend none. Dampening what? Let's move on to the new big thing, the crack to the crack. Make this change and you'll never go back. Linear, baby, what am I crazy? Move like a bobblehead, wussy daisy, hard to control. Oh man, I know, give it a week. Trust me, it's gold, but a couple of tips. Lower your sense and dead zones, well that depends on the sense you choose. Experiment, 0.8 right stick, I recommend. And dampening time, leave it an O. Hop and creative and there you go. Tinker a bit, throw in some bots. Don't give up, like it or not, you're gonna struggle a bit, you're gonna struggle a lot. But by day 3, it's gonna feel hot. And one full week, you're gonna feel cracked. Thank me now and never turn back. Which one should I choose? Which one should I choose? Old school, legacy, or go with something new? It's so hard to choose. Why is it so hard to choose when every other pro is trying to tell you what to do? Yeah, why listen to the pros? You know, the guys that actually know what they're doing. Listen to me, the average Fortnite player. The guy that gets 3 to 4 kills a game, or more like a week. Yeah, listen to that guy. Haha.
What's up, guys? FML Baziria here, Miss Ria. Wanted to tell you guys to please like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Do me that huge favor. You won't regret it. I've been playing since Season 3, so basically since Ground Zero. I average about a kill a game, so I'm top 5 all time. You know, I'm one of the best players that play this game, so I feel like that should be enough reason in itself to follow and like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications. No, seriously though, I'm just an average player at best, but I do play Fortnite. I use a controller, so most of my videos will be geared towards controller players. And genuinely, I just want us all to get better together. And I think we can do that. So if you guys want to check out my stuff, leave me a comment down in the comment section below, and let's dive right into this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so basically there's 3 different types of controller sensitivity in Chapter 2 for Fortnite. As far as sensitivity goes, you've got the old aim assist referred to as Legacy, and then you've got the 2 new ones under Advanced, which are referred to as Linear and Exponential. We're going to talk about Legacy first. So Legacy, the biggest reason why people still use Legacy is the old L2 spam. And the biggest difference there is if you're next to somebody, see how close I am, and you hit scope, it'll scope right onto their head. Now, you do not get that with the new sensitivity, and so guys from a distance that were so used to just re-hitting the L2 a bunch, just basically doing this a whole bunch, you don't have that option anymore. So it did do away with the L2 spam, but if you go back to the old settings on Legacy, you still have that. The other big advantage of Legacy that I miss, which I'm hoping they'll incorporate soon into the new sensitivities, is the fact that you could do your controller scope sensitivity separate than your targeting, which was nice because some people like to play a little bit lower on their AR when they're scoping in and shooting people off in the distance, but they like to higher sniper sensitivity for a quick, when you scope in and you can do a quick snipe and stuff like that. So I do miss that. Also, if you're really precise on your building sensitivity, you did have the option of 0.1, 0.2 on and on up, whereas the new sensitivities don't have that option. It's just set numbers like 1.7, 1.8. So if you don't know how to switch to Legacy, basically by default, if you downloaded the game today, this is what you would see. You could come in here and you could turn on the advanced options, and by default, Legacy look controls down here would be off. All you would have to do is go down here and turn them on, and then that's going to give you your old sensitivity. So a lot of guys like Ghost Aiden, Ghost Trapped, Jarvis before he got banned, a lot of those guys still preferred Legacy for the L2 spam, or at least just the L2 assist. And so that's Legacy. Okay, and then the next sensitivity setting we're going to go over is called Exponential. Now, Exponential is under the new advanced options. You got to go into your settings. Assuming you were using Legacy, under these advanced options, you're going to have this on. You would need to come in here, scroll down, and turn Legacy the controls off. I would recommend at that point going down here where it says Copy Legacy Settings. The reason you do that is if you copy it, it will attempt to bring over um, it'll set your sensitivities to what it was on Legacy. Now it'll be a little different. I noticed when I copied from it that it didn't feel exactly the same, but it was at least really close, and it gave me a good starting point. And then from there, I was able to make adjustments. Now you guys have probably all watched other videos anyway that go over like the horizontal boosts and stuff, but I would say by most players don't use horizontal boosts, but I think a lot of it depends on the sensitivity that you use. If you're using a low sensitivity, because that's the way you've always played is you like low sensitivity, which makes you more accurate at distances and things like that. You almost might want to consider using a boost or leaving the default 16% boost that it gives, because when you move your stick all the way to the side and you have a boost, what it's going to do is when it gets all the way to the side, it's going to kick in that percentage of that boost. So if someone was shooting you in the back, but you were playing with the low sensitivity, sometimes it would take forever to turn around, right? Well, if I go in here, so for right now, I don't have it. I'm just 0, so I'm the same speed going around, you know. If I were to come in here and go to horizontal boost and say give it 50%, which I wouldn't recommend, but just to show you for this example, let's say we're at 50% and I hit apply. Well, now when I turn around, see how quick it whipped? Poof, I'm moving around. I'm moving small adjustments like this, but then all of a sudden someone shoots me back and woof, I'm just whipped. Poof. Basically, it kicks in when your stick gets all the way to the side. It speeds up. So now, let me get away from these bots real quick so you can hear me. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. But so exponential just means that when you're moving your stick, though, that it moves gradually to the full speed, and that's the way Fortnite's always been. So if you want to use the new advanced options, I would recommend starting out with exponential, which it'll be on by default. But keep in mind that the sensitivity you'll have to mess with a little bit because it's not going to feel exactly the same as it did on Legacy. And then look dampening time is kind of like, I guess they call that aim acceleration. By default, it's at 0.20. I also don't like having that because I like more control over my aim. But if you've never messed with the advanced, I'd recommend leaving it on maybe at first, um, just just so you have a good starting point of what you're used to, and then you can start making adjustments from there. And so that is exponential. Okay, so the last one we're going to go over, which is my personal favorite, my brand new baby that I'm in love with, would be the linear option. And linear, if you go into your settings and under advanced, um, it would be on exponential by default. You're going to switch that over to linear and hit apply. Now, linear, the reason why it's become so popular is that unlike exponential, where when you move your stick, it goes to the percentage gradually, it's more of a raw input and it does it instantly. I know a lot of guys have used the analogy a car going from 0 to 60 on exponential. It's like it going from 0 to 60 in, maybe half a second or something. Whereas on linear, it's going to be instant. So every movement you make is going to feel really sensitive. And so when you first make this switch, the biggest thing I would recommend is you need to come in here and I would go with significantly lower percentages than what you were using. So if you were using the new advanced, but you're trying to make the change from exponential to linear, let's say you were using like a 70%. That's a good example because that's what I was using was 70% for my horizontal speed and my look vertical speed. And I turned it on linear and it felt way too sensitive. I couldn't even control my guy. I could build kind of nice, but I definitely couldn't control my movements on shotguns and things. So what I did is I came in here and I switched those down significantly lower. So I'd recommend that at first. I don't recommend having any sort of boost and stuff. You're going to have so much more control after using this setting for a few days than you had before. So you don't need to have boosts of any kind. I would recommend turning this dampening speed completely off. You just want everything to be consistent with this new setting, and you need to give it a few days to get used to it. That's my biggest piece of advice is it probably 1 full week, honestly. I'm only on day 4 of it, so I'm not even following my own advice there. I was just decided to make this video, but my first day I couldn't even move my guy correctly. Like I couldn't shoot a shotgun shot, couldn't hit nothing. And so I couldn't figure out why this new wave of linear was so popular. But by day 2, I already was probably shooting as good as I always have, and by day 3, which was yesterday, I had more control over my aim than I ever had. So I'm just excited to see what the next 2 or 3 days bring now that I've been using it. The next piece of advice that I would give before making the switch is you need to mess with your dead zones. Now, I saw some videos on this that helped me realize that that was why I was struggling so much with it at first. Um, when you very first make the switch, I would come in here to your controller, go over here where it shows dead zones, and I would bring down, bring up this one initially. Now I say initially because after I used it for a little bit, I kept slowly bringing it down, and I found that the lower one was where I liked it the best, but not at first. At first, I used to play on, I think, a 0.7 on the right. I couldn't control linear unless I went to about a 12 or a 14. And I think some players still play with it on a little bit higher when they're using linear. So I would start with something like that, use it for like half an hour in Playground or, in Rumble, and then slowly bring it down until you find that number. Because I remember I played on a point 0.7, but I started out on a point 0.12, played like an hour, then I played a couple rounds, did 11, 10, etc., etc. And I just noticed that it helped me get used to linear better than if I just left it on point 0.7 to begin with. Because to begin with, I couldn't control. I was flicking all over the place. I was like, "Holy crap, this is nuts." So that's my biggest piece of advice when you make the switch to linear is three things, I guess. Number one, you need to come in here and turn your sensitivity down for your horizontal and your vertical. A lot of guys say 50-50, so 50%, 50%. It's a good starting point. And so I would recommend that maybe start at 50-50. Make sure all of these things are turned off. So that's my biggest tip number one. Biggest tip number two is mess with your dead zones. Make sure that you start out by probably bringing up that right stick a little bit to help you have a little more control. And then number three, and the biggest one, is give it at least a week. I'm telling you, you're not going to like it the first day. You may not even like it the second day. I played a lot over the course of 2 days, so what might take you, how much play you might do in a week might differ from me too. So you need to give at least 1 week, and you will see a huge difference. So yeah. All right, so I hope this video helped you guys out. If it hasn't, that doesn't surprise me. I'm like I said, I'm a pretty average player at the game, to be honest. So my advice is take it with a grain of salt, I would say. But I do watch a lot of videos, and even though I'm not the greatest at the game, I've gotten a lot better in the last couple months. And I think a lot of it's just from the things I've learned on the sensitivity stuff, especially with the new stuff. And this linear is a huge change, and I like it a ton, and I expect you guys will like it as well if you give it the time. So in conclusion, turn on post notifications, like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Do me that huge favor. I'm hoping to put out another video next week, another rap. Obviously, that's going to be my niche. Hopefully, is these raps. But yes, please like and subscribe. Love your mom. After all, she did birth you. So that's it. We'll see you guys next time.
Which one should I choose? Which one should I choose? Old school legacy or go with something new? It's so hard to choose. Why is it so hard to choose when every other pro is trying to tell you?